Buddy, welcome everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for jumping in. We're gonna get started in just a sec. Just letting everybody know that we're gonna get started here. While we're doing that, we've just got a little video to play for you.
Right now, we continue to honor and celebrate Black history. And our guests this morning are giving you an opportunity really to be a leader. If you want your voice to be heard, your opinion to be heard, and we're talking about all throughout Georgia to really make a change, this is what you need to tune into. Here with us are Melvin Coleman and Michelle Glover with the Atlanta Black Chambers. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you
for having us. Yeah, okay. So first, let's just talk about what is the Black Chamber?
So we're an organization of entrepreneurs based here in Atlanta, but our membership extends or expands across the world, actually, because Atlanta is an international city.
Okay.
So we support and assist entrepreneurs to take their business endeavors to that next level.
Okay.
If you know anything about Atlanta, the entrepreneur population is very significant. In fact, the entrepreneur experience is a big part of the ATL experience. So the demand for what we offer is huge because of the city of Atlanta.
And there really are a lot of people who try to be business owners here in our city, which is really cool. So why is it important for them to get involved?
Well, entrepreneurs, business owners, they need a trusted, reliable source for information, access to resources, exposure for their business, exposure for their brand. Yeah. And so connected to the Atlanta Black Chambers is to be in the know. You don't want to miss on a wonderful program or some resources that have been made available. And so when you are connected to the chamber, you find out consistently all the information that you need to know. And this is very important.
Okay. And
awesome. We're going to pause it there because we just wanted you to understand a little bit about what we're doing in the chamber. So thanks everyone for jumping in. My name is Ricardo Berries. It's good to have you here. Welcome to the Power Hour, where the hour shall pass, but the power continues, and the power is within you. So we'll be hopping off here pretty soon. Quick announcement: please mark your watch, if I may say so. We're gonna need about 15 minutes overtime because we've got some special announcement that we wanted to share with all of you. And this is an incredible sort of groundbreaking milestone, if you may, of GOC and the art of collaboration. So let me just begin by saying the Global Opportunities Committee is a part of the Atlanta Black Chamber. You don't need to be in Atlanta to be a part of the chamber, so you're all welcome to be a part of the chamber whenever you'd like. And you can feel free to put your information in the chat, and while you do so, please be mindful of the conversations that we're having. Folks would love to be able to connect with you anywhere you are. This session is going to be recorded. It's going to be available on YouTube thereafter. So if someone you invited is probably missed it, they will be able to look at it again. So feel free to follow us everywhere on social media, Global Opportunities Committee, as well as the Atlanta Black Chambers. And so the Global Opportunities Committee focuses on opportunities all over the world for our members, whether it's trade, partnership, or investments. And today is one of those days we celebrate collaboration, we celebrate opportunities, and I've got some really awesome folks here. I'm actually in London, by the way, so big shout out to some of the folks who are joining us from London. I see some folks from West London here. Chelena, I see here. Elsa, welcome. You guys have been pretty amazing. We had an amazing meeting with our folks in West London yesterday. But I do want to introduce you to some folks, and really, we wouldn't have been able to be here. This wouldn't have really worked out. Maybe it wouldn't have actually happened without some key people that's actually on the ground. And so one of the things we do in GOC is we've built a people network all over the world, and we do have Claudine Reed, who is our head of regional leadership. And I'd like to introduce her. I'd like for her to introduce herself, say a quick few words, and then we'll come right back and introduce one of our other special guests who is here with us today. So Claudine, hi, you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. Really pleased to be here with you on today. And I'm really excited about what the Power Hour actually represents and what it means on a bigger picture. We're able to continue to break barriers every time that we meet. We're connecting different entrepreneurs across different regions and really getting to understand what that connectivity enables us to do. For those of you who are entrepreneurs, I know one of the things that you're thinking about is how do you scale your impact? How do you grow your business? Power Hour allows you that opportunity to do so. And what that then leads to is collaboration. And that's key. Ricardo said that in his introduction about the power of collaboration. And he wouldn't be here today in London, England, if it wasn't for the collaboration of the team here in the UK, the team in Germany, the team in France, and the team in Holland. I work to support the vision of the Atlanta Black Chamber and the Global Opportunities Committee alongside the UK lead, who is Leonard Fom. And you can find us all on LinkedIn. And I think this is the power of the collaboration. We want to ensure that we connect up with entrepreneurs from across the world so that we can scale our impact and really feed into the community and generational wealth that we speak about, ultimately serving our communities and leaving that legacy. So I'm really excited about what today holds, really excited about the conversation. And thank you again, Ricardo and the team at Global Opportunities Committee, and of course, the Atlanta Black Chamber.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Claudine, and we're super excited. Now, you know, a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, we met an incredible company here, and I'm always cognizant of how I'm saying it, but they say you just have to say you owe me, and maybe just speed it up. You owe me, right? And so that's the company that we have here in our presence today, and they've approached us, and you know, thanks to Leonard. FUM and the team here in UK really want to then exercise this collaboration that we've all been talking about. And I'll bring up our president, Melvin Coleman, shortly. But one of the things that he's often spoke about as part of the Atlanta Black Chamber is supporting each other and ensuring that this year it's not a moment, it's a movement. How do we ensure that we're looking out for each other and supporting each other? So I have a gentleman here today, Jason, who is the founder and CEO, right,
Yep.
of Yomi, and you owe me, so you all owe us, I guess. And so Jason is going to introduce himself, and he's going to share a little bit about Yomi with you, and then we'll go right into hearing a few words from our president and CEO Melvin Coleman. Jason, say hello.
Fantastic. And it's a pleasure to welcome you here, the GOC members and from the Atlanta Black Chambers chapter. Well, what can I say about Yomi? Yomi is all about supporting small businesses and entrepreneurs, because we know that small businesses, they contribute and they build communities. Essentially, that's how you can give back to a community. So Yomi as a platform and an app is there to support small businesses as they manage their operations to run more effectively and more efficiently. And we really focus on two things: acceptance, we all need to get paid, and really expense management, we need to pay our bills as well to run our businesses. And it's this time in the spirit of collaboration. So we in 2023, we signed a partnership with MasterCard to launch a virtual card program in the US, and we're about to launch it this year, and it will be launched in the next few months. And we thought, who would be the best association to take this forward into the US? And through Leonard and through Leonard and his contacts in the GOC, we met Ricardo, and you know, as we go forward to launch this program, we're able to be part of the money flow. And as a Black-owned financial institution, it's important and it's imperative that, you know, we start with a Black association when we go into the US. Yeah, and we allow in the partnership that we have with Atlanta Black Chambers GOC, we're able to, you know, share some of that money flow and push it back into the community, back into the organizations that support the community, and back into the hands of those business owners that run their business. So I'll just leave it there, but it's great to have this collaboration.
Yeah, no, awesome. Thank you so much, Jason. And you'll hear a little bit more about the why, because we're doing a symbolic gesture today, which is an MOU between us, so to encourage the use of this platform within our community. It's Black owned, and we're really sort of taking it to the world, if you may. I'd like to draw attention to our president, Melvin Coleman, who is an incredible support of just global opportunities. And, you know, if you ever hear Melvin speak, he's always going to say ABC to the world. And he's made the chamber #1 in the United States. So the Atlanta Black Chamber is the #1 chamber in the United States that has been awarded by the U.S. Black Chamber in Washington, D.C. So, Melvin, would you like to just come up and share a couple of things and what this actually means with this UK collaboration?
Yes, yes. Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here in this moment. Shout out to Ricardo. Shout out to Claudine and the whole team. GOC is making a tremendous impact, not just on the Atlanta Black Chambers, but on our broader community, because we're setting a real example of how these global relationships are important, and really they are going to make the biggest difference as we look out into the future. So again, I'm excited to be here. Thank you, Ricardo, for the correct pronunciation. You owe me. So I can definitely say that. I probably said that many times in my life. So this is good. This is good. We like that. You know, what's great about, you know, this opportunity, this collaboration with Uomi is, you know, we're looking for opportunities where there's synergy. It makes sense. You know, when I'm talking to Ricardo, I'm like, you know, I'm going to support anything that makes sense. And so we see added value here. And then also the ABC, the Atlanta Black Chambers, and GOC, we always want to set an example for others to see all over the world. So when they see us collaborating, that's a good thing. And so I'm always looking to set a great example. And I think a partnership like this with an entity that is, say, global, not say domestic to the United States, that puts real substance behind when I'm talking to people and saying, hey, this is what we should be doing. And I can give them an example of, say, a global collaboration. So this is great. And I'm looking forward to moving forward in the process, Ricardo. And looking forward to meeting Jason and the team in person at some point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we'll get thank you, Melvin, and we'll get Jason into our conference. Hopefully we can have you join us in October, where we have a Go Global conference, and you'll be hearing and seeing more of Jason. But I did want to just kind of pan to you real quick and just say, what does this actually mean to you? And you can speak directly here. We'll just keep the mic. But what does this mean to you as a Black founder, and just to really collaborate with the likes of GOC? And I mean, people are all over the world on this call. I mean, I see Dr. Jackie's here, and she's in, I think she's in Japan or Asia right now. So people are all over the world just kind of listening in. And what does this collaboration actually mean to you and me? And what's the why here? Just speak. Yeah, just speak.
Yeah, so the why for me really is it's twofold. One is that actually there's, and this is probably not known, there is a financial ecosystem out there. And this financial ecosystem allows businesses all over the world to transact. Yeah. But there is a cost to that transaction. And that cost is usually taken up by specific entities, by specific companies. And we've got the opportunity here with what we've built and with who we can partner with, to take some of that money flow that would ordinarily just go to the ecosystem and put it back into our community. So this is what is, for me, this is fundamental, because at the end of the day, this is all about building that generational wealth and having that interconnected world of transactions, and interconnected world of commerce, and interconnected world of safe business transactions. So this, for us, this is all about, well, how do we be part of that money system, and how do we actually carve out a piece for ourselves, yeah, and actually enable that transaction to flow within our community to build our community. So that's really fundamental in why I've been, you know, why for me this actual partnership is so important.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jason. That's well said. So you're going to be hearing a lot more about you owe me. I'm going to be saying that you owe me a lot. So get ready, because we'll translate that to the, you know, you just have to pay me, right? But certainly this was great. We're going to be doing an MOU between you owe me and GOC, the chamber, just to really encourage folks to, if you're a business owner, test the system, see what it's like, see how it actually does help you. But we'll be moving into our programming now because we have Lesotho on GOC Power Hour today, and GOC is doing amazing things around the world, and we've got a regional lead who is based actually in Lesotho. And I remember my first time meeting, you know, Cindy. I'll give her a chance to introduce herself, but I had no idea where Lesotho was. And so just pulling up a map and pointing there is give better context. And I'll allow her to help us to kind of situate Lesotho for us. But we're excited to have her and our guest on the call today. So Cindy and Thabo, welcome to GOC Power Hour. Why don't we get started by you telling us who you are, where you are, and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chairman, and also sincere gratitude to our President Melvin from the Black Chambers. Indeed, it's a great honor for us as Basotho Nation to actually get this opportunity to showcase excellency of who we are as a nation. And also, I remember when we met each other, we were just here in Johannesburg, and we started chatting. I'm like, no, Lesotho is one of the most, you know, great countries in the Southern Africa, which is really landlocked in Southern Africa, which is South Africa. And also the potential of that nation, it's amazing. I mean, with the highest altitude globally and all over the world. I mean, it's a Switzerland of Africa. That's how we always, promote Lesotho. But also, if you look at Lesotho, you're talking about a Lesotho that has a natural resource, which is water. And also, we always call it a white gold. I mean, water is life. I mean, there are a lot of initiatives that can come out of water. I mean, if you look at hydrogen as well, green hydrogen, Lesotho is capable of actually becoming the center of the world in terms of green hydrogen. Well, on that introduction, my name is Dr. Sindiswa Mzamo. I'm part of the Global Opportunities Committee as well within Atlanta Black Chambers, but also I'm a businesswoman in my own right, but I'm a founder of an organization called the Circle of Global Businesswomen that is actually a strategic partner as well to Atlanta Black Chambers, in particular with the Global Opportunities Committee, and to drive collaboration, to drive innovation amongst businesses, because what is important about this platform, I'm really grateful and humbled, Chairman and the President, because you can't do business with somebody that you don't know. These platforms are very important to understand which member state, who are these people, where do you come from, because we gotta have to trust each other. Investor confidence is very important. Domestic investors attract international investors. So next time when you think about Lesotho, think about me, think about the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Samuel, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Samuel Matekane, and think about His Majesty as well, King Letsie III, who is a London scholar, by the way, and also making sure that you understand who is Lesotho. But I'm really humbled and honored to actually get this platform to really talk about ourselves. There are three critical things about Lesotho. If you look about Lesotho's economy, it's driven by three engines of the economy: tourism, you look at agriculture, you look at infrastructure and investing in these critical areas. And even the infrastructure of technology is very important so that we can drive collaboration through innovation, through technology. And Lesotho is ready for investors. And I'm sure the CEO of Lesotho Private Sector, of Private Sector Foundation Lesotho, sorry, see, I always make a mistake and call it the other way around. And we'll be able to articulate that very well because I work very closely with him. Soon we'll be launching something called Lesotho South Africa Business Council, which is going to be another hub for Atlanta Black Chambers, because we are talking about corridors. I mean, there's a corridor between Maseru and KwaZulu-Natal in Durban. That corridor must actually be active. But the Right Honorable Prime Minister is the moment he is driving an economy called the private sector-led economy. And there are a lot of initiatives that have taken place in Lesotho as we speak right now. There's one that is supported by the World Bank. It's called Private-Public Dialogue, which is PPD. And I'm going to actually leave that to the CEO to actually explain it because it's part and parcel of that process. Because these systems are very important so that we'll be able to actually create that investment climate, that investor confidence, so that when the chairman and the president would say, we are coming to Lesotho, we want to come and invest in Lesotho. Who is Lesotho? How can we tap into the skills that Lesotho has? Because Lesotho is being transformed from a public purse to a private sector-led economy. So that's why this relationship between the Black Atlantis Chamber is very important, and between and Lesotho, so that we'll be able to drive economic development, but also connecting to Africa. I think what is very key for us at the moment, we are driving the G20, and also Lesotho is going to be part and parcel. They will participate in the G20 activities through the private sector-led initiatives that are driven by the government of Lesotho and also private sector. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Awesome. Thank you, Cindy. I do want to go to Thabo to introduce himself. So Thabo, if you can go ahead and tell us who you are and tell us how you are obviously connected to Lesotho and what's actually happening there today.
Thank you, Ricardo. Yes, like you said, my name is Thabo Qhesi. I'm working as a Chief Executive Officer of a Private Sector Foundation of Lesotho, which is a membership-driven business association, duly established in 2008. So the main primary objective of Private Sector Foundation is to facilitate and promote sustained public-private dialogue. So currently, as we speak, Lesotho is already exporting textile and apparel products to the US market under AGOA trade preference. So we know AGOA trade preference has more than 6 lines of products. So as at present, the investors who are taking advantage of AGOA are Asian investors in the textile and apparel space. They are doing very well because by virtue of being a member of a Southern African Custom Union, when you produce, you do production in Lesotho for export purpose outside SACU market, you don't pay duties for raw materials. So this says when you import raw materials to produce textile and apparel products, you don't pay common external tariff of 35%. And again, when you export to the US market, because AGOA says you can export to US market duty-free, quota-free. So meaning that your goods won't be subjected to any duty in US. So you save by virtue of bringing the raw material in Lesotho. After having a finished product, you export it to the US market duty-free. So you can see, even before you can make profit margin, but you are already making huge savings, by not paying the duties. So that thing on its own, this says the companies who wanted to exploit the African market, they can use Lesotho as a launch pad, do production, and then you export to countries. And when you export, beyond SACU market, raw material that you will be importing won't be subjected to any duty. This is a good thing that I just want to emphasize. We are also having diamonds, and we don't have the secondary stage of processing, cutting and polishing. We are still exporting the diamonds to Belgium, Antwerp, raw as they are. So this says if we can have investors into Lesotho and establish polishing and cutting diamond businesses, this is an ample opportunity. And I also wanted to cite that by virtue of being a member of SACU is Southern African Custom Union, okay? For infant industry, there's a clause, Article 26 of a SACU Agreement of 2002. It says an infant industry can be protected, if it is a business and not existing for more than 8 years. So it says this is another opportunity that in the event that you establish a new business in Lesotho, it can be protected under infant industry clause. That's how far I can go so far. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Thabo. So it sounds like Cindy, it sounds like Lesotho is a great, like Thabo says, the launch pad. Can we touch a little bit specifically on some of the sectors that are already taking advantage of this and the opportunity there to use Lesotho as a launch pad? What are these sectors? What are these opportunities specifically that folks are actually getting into that we ourselves can be a part of or need to know?
Okay. Thank you very much, Chairman, on those sectors. I think I've already articulated on the sectors as well. The first one is tourism. Already there is going to be a 5-star hotel and an international convention center that is going to be driven or be built, or where the government of Lesotho is looking for investors to look into that aspect of actually building the viable economy of Lesotho. And the other ones, I'm sure you know that Lesotho has gone through the 200 years of celebrating the Moshweshwe as a king of the Basotho nation. There are legacy projects that the Lesotho government has also identified. You name it, the museum, the horse race. I mean, if you look at Durban, for example, I stayed in Durban. If you look at the horse race, the Durban July, it actually creates billions for the municipality of eThekwini. It creates billions for the province of KZN. And this is where the Lesotho government is actually going and making sure that the creation of that horse race would be able to actually attract investors that are coming from the Southern Africa region or even international investors. Now, you come back because the SADC industrialization strategy is very important and critical, because that's where we're going to be able to actually drive the economy of Lesotho. So industrialization and manufacturing facilities of certain industries in Lesotho. For example, I was listening to the Minister of Mining when he was interviewed by one of the South African broadcasters. He actually made something that was very profound for me, which is all the factories in South Africa, they can set up factories in Lesotho because Lesotho's got enough water. For example, if you're actually, running a tissue factory, you can actually go and set up your tissue factory in Lesotho, and then you produce it for South Africa. So these are the type of regional investment promotions or strategies that member states can actually do or look at in working with one another. And one of the other critical thing, I always say to people that infrastructure on telecoms is the most powerful tool in the world. If you don't have the right infrastructure in telecommunications, there's no country, there's no world. So telecommunications is one of the drivers of development of economies, and the Lesotho government is actually looking into investing into telecoms as we speak right now. If you look at Vodacom, for example, they've already set aside, which is a private sector-led initiative. They've already set aside funds to actually look at investing in infrastructure. And you can look at investors that are actually looking into that, where they can come and partner with the Lesotho government and partner with, the likes of Vodacom or Econet in looking at strengthening the infrastructure in terms of telecoms in Lesotho. Because I saw it when we had load shedding. The very moment when lights are off, do you know that the whole telecom system shuts down? So it's a reality. So, and also renewable energy. I'm sure we have seen His Majesty King Letsie III on a roadshow globally, looking at renewables as a key driver of the economy, especially investors that would want to come and invest in Lesotho. So that's why I'm actually saying that these sectors are key to, and even agriculture. The one thing I like about their strategy on agriculture, they have this block type of farming strategy that they use, that farmers are actually clustered together to actually, produce products, and which is something that I've seen working in certain parts of the world, where when farmers come together, they'll be able to produce more products. And then they've got more resources so that they'll be able to take their products to the market. But what I've learned in agriculture, money is not in the produce, but money is in the value chain. So how do you make sure that in the midst of actually producing, we create processing plants within the farms so that the products they offtake from the farms themselves to global markets? I don't know whether I see or I've left other sectors. If I've left them, please, you'll close that gap for me.
Okay. Thank you, Cindy. To start with energy, already there are feasibility studies that we can generate power using wind, hydro, and solar. Already there are some feasibility studies in that regard. So we are really looking potential investors, in that regard. Secondly, Lesotho is being earmarked, Lesotho and Namibia, in one of the program of UNECA. UNECA is United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, to pilot for a regional automotive value chain, Lesotho and Namibia. So where we can produce automotive components, to service the automobile industry in South Africa. So this is one opportunity again that we can also explore. Then thirdly, agriculture. We need a protected agriculture due to climate change. Our high altitude is also giving us an edge, to produce organic products. But like I said, due to climate change, we need protected agriculture. So this says we need technology, appropriate technology, yes. The fourth one is this one of manufacturing. Manufacturing, the sky's the limit, because we can service African market. We are having Africa Continental Free Trade Area. So where we are trying to reduce the barriers to access those markets. So Lesotho being used as a launch pad, we can produce and service African countries. Remember, I said, when you export beyond SACU market, all the raw materials that you will import for production won't be subjected to any duty. Thank you.
And also, sorry, Chairman, before you come in, also, if you look at what the Minister of Transport and Public Works in Lesotho, earlier this year, he actually produced the 10 key projects that the government is actually working on in terms of actually making, Lesotho great. Because you can't talk about investing and yet the infrastructure is not right. I mean, that's very important, because we need to have the right roads to our tourists. We need to have the right infrastructure to our tourists. And I can tell you right now, Lesotho's got one of the best roads in the SADC region. If you look at even in town, if you look at outskirts of Lesotho, and also if you look at their aviation sector, they're actually working now on upgrading the airport so that it actually it's standardized in terms of international standards. They're also looking into coming up with a civil aviation traffic air control system, and also the collection of lines, because Chair, you always airport routes that are actually flying on top of Lesotho, but that has to be digitized so that you track who has flown over my country and how much that costs. So the Minister of Public Works and Transport is actually on that mission to make sure that our aviation system and coming up with an aviation control system within Lesotho that will be able to actually drive the economy of Lesotho. So I think for me, these are the critical projects that attract investors in terms of investor confidence and actually making sure that our tourists or our investors, there's something called business and leisure in tourism. You first visit Lesotho as a tourist and then kind of like this place. I'm going to come and invest here. So that's what tourism does. So that's why the Right Honorable Prime Minister is really driving the tourism agenda in Lesotho so that it will attract more investors because you are first attracted to a country by visiting it and later you tell yourself, I want to do business here. So I think the Lesotho is actually on the right track of actually reviving the economy of the members of the member states. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Cindy. And you said it well. I mean, before you do the investment in, a visit might serve you better. And so how do you actually get to Lesotho? Like, what's the route if you're coming in from, say I'm in London now and I would like to leave UK to get to Lesotho, or I'm in Atlanta or the US, I'd like to get to Lesotho. Is that a South Africa sort of route where you go to Cape Town or Johannesburg and then you do sort of a second hop into Lesotho? Can you speak to the route to get in and out to the visitor?
Thank you. The routes are actually simple. You land in our Tambo, then you connect to Lesotho. There are 2 flights a day that actually normally operate, which is SAA Link, and SAA Link has got a very good relationship with the Lesotho government. And also you can actually land in Johannesburg, fly to Bloemfontein, drive for an hour on the road and get to Lesotho. So this is the most 2 critical routes that are actually good when you're going to Lesotho because it's landlocked as well. And Cape Town, Johannesburg, Durban, same thing. And that's why the Right Honorable Prime Minister at the moment, I'm sure that Thabo will speak to that later, trying to open that route between Maseru and Durban so that, because the port of entry for Lesotho is in Durban. But what normally happens, it gets into a truck from Durban, Johannesburg, Bloemfontein, Lesotho. So between Maseru and Durban, it's just a short distance, and making sure that, and that's one of the things that I think the heads of government and the heads of member states in the SADC region, they're actually working on a corridor programs that will actually benefit both member states in terms of economic status and social status. And if you look at tourism between Lesotho and KZN, which is part of South Africa, there's now a program that they're trying to actually do a cage between the mountains, like when you see the Cape Town cable. So the provincial government of KwaZulu-Natal, as we go in towards the travel indaba in Durban, they're actually now working on that strategy to work in collaboration with Lesotho government to drive that partnership between the 2 member states, because both mountains are in Lesotho and the other one is in South Africa, but the cable would be able to actually join these 2 countries and create more revenue for both member states. Thank you.
Awesome. That's great. So you talked a little bit about some sectors, and I heard you mention telecom and mining and agriculture, aviation. One of the things that is keen to our community, the chamber, the GOC, a lot of our businesses are service providers. They're professional service providers. So they don't necessarily create a physical product, but they create a lot of digital services. I'm in tech, for example, and here in the UK, in London, we're with some fintech folks as well. Can you speak a little bit to fintech or the finance space, perhaps in the professional service space, where, and maybe this is for you, Thabo, if you can jump in here. Can you speak a little bit about those sectors that I didn't hear you mention? Are there opportunities there for these sectors to then get involved? I'm sure they are.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Yes,
Definitely.
yes,
I
they
wanted
are.
to go to, okay, go ahead, Thabo.
it's Thabo. Sorry,
ahead.
Thabo. You can go on.
All right. Yes, on the fintech, yes, there's a great opportunity due to cross-border payments. Yes, there's an opportunity in that regard. Yeah, even though logistics, yes, there's an opportunity in that regard. Again, when you talk about the services, we also need technology to assist the SMEs, to report on the environmental laws, as we are aware that EU introduced a mechanism called CBAM, Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, where the businesses have to demonstrate carbon emissions embedded to a product. So this is now a great challenge, to demonstrate that the carbon emissions are embedded, So yeah, dealing with that carbon credit market, we don't have necessary skills at present. So we really need companies outside who can come, and do joint ventures to explore that niche market. Thank you.
All right, awesome. I'm gonna just go back to, and if you are a GOC member and you're on the call and you'd like for us to spotlight you, just PM me, and so that we can kind of bring you up, and so you can talk about who you are in your business. This is something that we do spontaneously, so we're always folks who are ready, because we are born that way. At least those are the people that we have in GOC. They're ready to go whenever, as long as it's about the business, we can talk about it. But I do want to kind of go back to. The idea of Jason here, and Jason, this whole thing about UOME and fintech, and just what you're actually doing for the community. Where do you see this going? Is this just sort of expanding to the US, or are you thinking about expanding throughout the US and beyond? Because the US is it's an immigrant space, so we're all connected everywhere else. So sort of what's the vision? Where do you see this going? Do you see this going into spaces like the continent of Africa and so forth and so on? Maybe you can turn the camera on back. Just go ahead and just speak. Yeah. Okay, yeah, just go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, when YOME was originally purposed, or the vision of YOME, it was really for global financial ecosystem, essentially. So that was really, and we're a London-based organization, but my background is as a financial technologist, building financial systems for some of the largest investment banks in the world, like Goldman's, Merrill's, and so forth. That has been my trade, essentially. And so looking at that and mirroring what happens in the global financial ecosystem, it's like, can we replicate that? Yeah. And there are so many from a system perspective, there are sort of safeguards, and there are certain concepts built into the system to ensure actually that you got transparency, yeah, and you can transact in a way that if something goes wrong, you've got legal recourse as well. And this is something that I think is needed in other communities like ours, essentially, where if you're doing business, you might not trust the person that you're doing business with, but if you can trust the system, yeah, then you can still do business, yeah? And so actually, if you can, and it's really counterparty risk. If you can if you can lower the risk of doing business, then you can do more business, essentially. Yeah, and you can do more business in a safe and transparent way. So that's where the concept of YOME came about. So for us, it's all about building a global ecosystem that we started in the UK, but we realized with our partnership with MasterCard, actually, that there was a massive opportunity to work in the US, which is the biggest, you know, it's from an economic perspective, it's, you know, it's the biggest economic growth potential is there. But we definitely have we've built the system in such a way that we can expand definitely into different regions. It's all cloud-based. You know, we handle like multiple languages, like 16 languages underneath the covers. Even in the US app there, you can switch to Spanish and stuff like that. And so things like, so we've started off with building the infrastructure to be able to support things like acceptance and payments and in different geographical locations. And I think that's fundamental for business to be able to transact in different regions, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're all seeing a lot of common things, right? I mean, infrastructure is necessary for this and lowering this sort of risk barrier. And I'm going to ask you, Cindy and Thabo, to talk a little bit about the risk that are involved, because, you know, as Jason was explaining, I mean, he's building a technology that, and I hope soon will be available in Lesotho, right? Because you've got folks there. I mean, you sit right essentially in the heart of South Africa. It's 50+ billion people. So there are huge opportunity there in terms of financial infrastructure, but also risk, helping to lower those risk barrier. What are some of the risks that we have to deal with, and how do we mitigate those risks when sort of doing business in Lesotho more specifically?
I think for me, what is important, Chair, and my colleagues, is to be mindful and on who you are actually working with. In Lesotho, there is an organization that is responsible for driving investor confidence called the Lesotho National Development Corporation. And that is the first point of call under the Department of Trade and Industry. But also what is very important, because what government does, government creates an enabling environment for businesses to thrive, but the actual people that are actually doing business in Lesotho is private sector. And there is Thabo, who is the CEO of the Lesotho, the Private Sector Foundation Lesotho. In many times, we just get into a member state and we just meet at times people on the streets, and only to discover that, oops, we have met the wrong person. I've done that myself, but not in Lesotho. You know, when an entrepreneur, you're so excited and you want to go to this country and you want to do business, and we are not mindful about such things, because when you go to the LNDC will actually tell you, if you want to be an investor in Lesotho, these are the critical things that we want. For example, now in Parliament, there's a bill that I don't know whether maybe the CEO would actually look into that has been passed in terms of actually how do you invest in Lesotho. And that document is very important for any investor that want to invest. Prior you come to Lesotho, you must actually understand the investment climate and the environment, and which sectors are actually going to turn around, or which sectors are going to be able to actually work on that. But if you don't do that, there are risk elements. You're actually bound to actually meet, you know, wrong people that can convince you otherwise, and you only discover that you have traveled, you know, back and forth in Lesotho, and you're not getting anywhere. And these are the things that I think as governments all over the world, they're looking into to actually make the system very easy and make sure that if an investor wants to come and invest, LNDC is a doorstep. A private sector, Lesotho private sector, the Private Sector Foundation Lesotho is at a doorstep. So there's that collaboration, and I'm sure maybe Thabo later you'll actually talk about the public-private dialogue. What does it stand for? How does it actually champion the investor confidence of people that wants to come and invest in Lesotho? And I think the government has been in power for about 2 years, and I think they've done very well, but there's certain policies, government reforms that they're working on, and also to build that confidence, so that if you're actually sitting in Atlanta or anywhere else in the world, when you think about coming to invest in Lesotho, you know that those policies are actually, your money is secure. And that's one other thing that is very important, the secure of your money as an investor in a member state. You know, there's certain countries in Africa where you invest, you can't take your money out of that member state. So it's one of those things. Those are risks. And we need to actually, that database on its own on critical things and that you're supposed to do. How do you invest in a member state? And I think it's very important. And that doorstep, it becomes the Lesotho National Development Corporation, so that you know that your investment is secured in a member state. And how do you invest in that member state? And I'm sure, and that Thabo will cover certain things that I've don't covered, so that we alleviate the risk factors, because I think all of us as investors, we get so excited and when we see that there are opportunities in another member state, but if you don't follow the protocol and procedures of how that member state operates, you might find that you are actually against the law of that member state without you knowing, because you've met the wrong person. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thabo, do you want to add to that quickly?
Yes, I just want to fill up. Yes, a point of departure is that the Lesotho National Development Corporation is a government agency tasked to promote investment, you know.
Yeah.
So every investor, they have to go via LNDC. They will assist in terms of registration, even to secure office space or a factory shell, you know. So as business association, we work hand in hand, you know, so that whenever there's some challenges, we share them together. So with the platform that Cindy was referring to, public-private dialogue, this is where the private sector is having an opportunity to lobby, to advocate policies, you know, which can remove obstacles which are inhibiting the practice of trade. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. And so once you get an idea of sort of how to mitigate those risks, I think the other thing that people need to know about, it's really sort of that cultural alignment. I mean, you know, we're all connected to the diaspora and, you know, we're from different spaces. But talk to me about culture, Thabo, in terms of how does one align with the culture? Like, what is it that we need to then, you know, how do we need to align ourselves with the culture of Lesotho? What is the culture of Lesotho?
Oh, thank you. Yes, like I indicated that our LNDC, Lesotho National Development Corporation, yes, their job, you know, is to assist foreign direct, you know, foreign investors, you know, to set up in Lesotho. They are also having aftercare services. You know, they don't only assist you to register, even on day-to-day basis. You know, they are still having that aftercare services. The good thing in Lesotho, we are having U.S. Embassy. You know, so if you go to the website of the U Embassy, you know, they also, you know, have streamlined some of the activities that an investor must take into account, you know, when they operate in Lesotho, you know. So yeah, that service of aftercare is the one that will assist an investor to familiarize himself or herself with the culture of doing business in Lesotho. Thank you.
I think also
there around culture. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Also, one of the cultures in Lesotho, you must learn how to speak Sotho, hey? We'll teach you. So we'll give you a book where you just read Dumelang, how do you greet, slowly but surely, you know. First, they always say that first impressions last. Imagine when an American, right all the way from Atlanta, walks into a boardroom and says, Dumelang, already the deal is done.
Dumelang, is that how is that it? All right. Dumelang. So we'll make a note. We'll make a note of that.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I do want to. I want to switch again to one of our members who is. I think she's ready to be spotlighted. Janelle from Solar Time. If you may just come on camera and tell us a little bit about who you are. This is one of the things that we do within the Power Hour is to allow other members to talk about their business and what is that they're doing and the impact they're actually making. So Janelle, are you here?
Yes.
Please go ahead and introduce yourself. I see you got a lot of solar in the background. Seems like you're in the solar business, right?
Yes, that's exactly what we do, baby. Well, thank you so much for this most fantabulous opportunity to speak with you on the national and international level, the Global Opportunities Committee. Well, to introduce myself, my name is Jonelle Carroll Menifee. I represent Solar Time USA, and we have been developing our international approach since, was it 2019? We started in Kenya. And we also have developed a project in terms of a microgrid in Sierra Leone. And now in Kenya, we are on our feasibility stage it's a really cool project in Mombasa. It's solar, like a solar e-mobility infrastructure, okay? So basically, we've partnered with this organization called Toop Operators Network. And those that know about Kenya, they have boda, which is two-wheel motorcycles, and Toops, which are the three-wheel carts. It's almost like a motorcycle, but they drive a little because it's cute. And the problem is that this community has, they don't make a lot of money. They make money day by day, paycheck to paycheck. This is day by day. And so the price of gasoline is just killing them. It's about $5 a gallon. They say liters, but that's what I've quantified it is in gallons. And so to actually help them to go, just completely electric, and the infrastructure being powered by solar energy, EV chargers set up, it is just going to be phenomenal. Okay, and then also to do retrofits to convert their Toops and their two-wheel motorcycles and their Toops, the three-wheel vehicles, into electric vehicles is so important. That's going to help them save a ton of money. And then also these parts, they don't need no oil for the combustible engine. The fuel in terms of electricity is free. Well, it's not free for them, but the infrastructure, once it's in place, the fuel comes from the sun. Okay, so now the cost is really depicted upon us instead of outside influences. If there's a war here, or something goes on over there, somebody slaps their mama over there, it's going to throw the price of oil up and gas up. And these are the people that can least affected. And so that's going to be the first stage. And then once this program works out successfully, we'll expand it throughout the continent of, the country of Kenya. And we're also looking into expanding into DRC and Cameroon. Would love to see what Lesotho's all about. We're doing some good stuff in the United States too, in terms of residential, solar, commercial, industrial, and utility scale. So that's us, Solar Time USA. Come holler at us, baby.
Thank you.
Wow.
It's always great chatting with you. I love what you guys are doing, transforming energy. Folks, like we said, we are going to be asking for a little bit of overtime because usually the hour shall pass, but the power continues. This is how we are connected. This is how we're connecting rather each other throughout the globe. So as we kind of bring this home, I do want to ask you if you've got any questions. Let's start putting it in the chat. You can raise your hand if you've got a question on Lesotho, or if you have a question for Cindy. And I know here in UK, we've got a little audience here, and it's kind of hard for you to see it, but I'm going to try to show you. And maybe we can just have our UK folks just kind of wave over to all of you so you could see in the room. We've got quite a few people. So you didn't know who was listening, the Prime Minister. You didn't know there were some powerful folks listening to you all. So that's your best bet. Your best foot forward is always a good thing, right? So as we wrap this, as we bring this home, if you have any questions, like I said, we want to ask. And I know I saw my good friend from Ethiopia, who we actually just met last night, but he's here. He lives here. He's from here. We're going to take that question shortly. But I do want to talk about sort of that requirements really quick before we get into the questions. What's required? What's required as an investor, as a business who wants to come in from the US or Atlanta or even UK now where we are, anywhere in the world they are? What's required to get into Lesotho? Is it partnership on the ground we need to forge first? Like, talk to me a little bit about what that is, Cindy. Or Thabo, you can go ahead and talk to me about that.
Oh, Thabo, yes.
Okay, thank you. You know, you don't necessarily have to partner with a local. You can go alone and register as a foreign company, you know. Secondly, you have to demonstrate that you have a sufficient capital, not less than 2 million maloti or 2 million rands, which is equivalent to 120,000 USD, you know. And then you have to present your business plan. Those are key things that you really need. It is not a matter of must to partner with a local. You know, you can go on your own. Thank you.
Okay.
And we can also assist in the registration as a business association. This is where we assist companies to register locally. We are having online system. Though there is a challenge on the payment, you know, you still have to go physically to the Ministry of Trade, you know, but everything is done online, you know. Yes, we can facilitate in that regard. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. And we hope that well, you owe me for this, for saying this, but we hope that you owe me can come and help to in the future to come solve some of those challenges, because the financial infrastructure is certainly needed to be able to do business. I want to go to the questions now as we kind of bring this home. And if you can go ahead, I'll repeat the question for the audience, for the folks here, but go ahead and ask what's the question again?
Question is, we didn't have touch on that, the healthcare, opportunity for us, bring our solutions to.
Yes, and your name again?
Dr. Musiwala Selassie.
Dr. Musiwala.
Musiwala Selassie.
Okay, so Dr. Selassie is asking Cindy and maybe Thabo can answer healthcare. Are there any opportunities for healthcare to get into the healthcare space in Lesotho? And if you can talk about what that is and how does one get started there?
I think we had an engagement with Thabo the other day. I think you'll be excited to take this one. And did I see you?
Yes, thank you. Firstly, diagnostic services. I'm very sorry to tell you that all the tests are done outside the country, you know. Specimens are taken outside the country. So we really need diagnostic services, you know, as a matter of urgency, you know, in Lesotho. So yeah, even on the other healthcare services, you know, the sky's the limit, you know. Our healthcare services is not really strong enough because we still have to go to South Africa on cancer treatment, you know. Yeah, the sky is the limit there insofar as healthcare system is yeah, but in diagnostic services, that one even tomorrow, you know, if you were to be in Lesotho, then you will get a lot of clients from private practitioners seeking that services, you know. Yes, thank you.
On what the CEO has said, I think technologically so, and through innovation, through science, cancer is becoming very expensive for Black people in general in Africa. Just for you to have a medical aid for cancer treatment, you're talking about over 500,000. And then once you start chemo, it hits to about 2 million. So I think the innovation part, like Doc was asking, we're gonna have to find an innovation way of actually treating the cancer cells in a scientific way. And maybe there are scientists that are actually working on that as we speak right now. That's another breakthrough to be frank and honest with you, especially in Africa, on cancer diagnosis, but on cancer treatment. Thank you.
So that sounds like it's music to Doc's ears because he's lighting up here, and we've got to find a way to connect you guys with him. Does anyone else have any other question for, I saw one question around the population, which was already answered. There's about 2.2 million people that actually lives in Lesotho. So you got a good market there as well. And on top of that, there's South Africa, which has about 50 million. Does anyone have any questions that you'd like to then ask Dr. Cindy or Thabo about Lesotho in general? Please raise your hand if you do, but we want to kind of move the program along. I do know that Michelle is on the call from Frankfurt, from Germany, which is where we're actually going to head next after we're done here in the UK. And she had an interesting point that I just wanted to recognize her as a regional lead for Germany, but she's also interested in sharing something around sort of EU regulation and how we can relate to this. Michelle, are you on the are you still on the call? Can you go ahead? Can you go ahead quickly, please?
Yes, hi guys. Nice to see you. Yeah, thank you, Ricardo, for the opportunity. Thabo told us about the regulations, EU regulations for CO2 emissions and low carbon service or products that I've been doing. And I'm in Germany, and my company works on this topic for consultation for other companies, to help other companies, support other companies. And they talked about sustainability regulation for the EU market. And Thabo explained different things about export and import and how to get to these lower taxes to make the process. Yeah, and my company is here, and I'd like to tell you if you need some support just to see how to make some joint ventures or to look, for example, if you're expected or has the focus to make business with EU, there is a really important topic. EU plans to be the player on sustainability, and without sustainability strategy, it will be difficult for you, for other companies to make business here. That's like the point I'd like to talk to you guys, and I like to know with Thabo and Dr. Cindy later to talk more about. Yeah, it would be really, really good. Thank you, guys. I was reading here. It's really, really helpful what we're sharing today. It was like powerful. That is the name for the hour, not Power Hour. And thank you for for this information that you are bringing today.
Yeah, no, thank you, Michelle. I mean, if this can help one person, I think we would have done a great job within 6 minutes, right? And so this is exactly what this is about: bringing knowledge and bringing education, but then also acting upon it, which is now your job. We've put some feedback into the chat. Would love to hear from you in terms of how we're doing. Are you liking these conversations? Are you broadening your knowledge base? You know, even the good book says the folks suffer on the earth because of a lack of knowledge, but I would say, you know, you probably will suffer more if you don't act on those knowledge. And so you've got to really practice it. So certainly ensure that you are connected. Next week, we're really going to be talking with the Democratic Republic of Congo. And so if you have an interest in what's actually happening there and you want to sort of understand those dynamics, that's going to be a good conversation to tune into. But we need to know your feedback. Follow the link inside the chat. Tell us how we're actually doing with these with these power hours, so that we can really bring to you the conversations that will really make sense. So I really want to thank you guys. And as we wrap up, I want to give the last words to Cindy and Thabo, and then also want to give a last word to Jason as well. You know, you owe me. We got to keep saying that, but you owe me has got some last words as well that we'd want to share. And lean in, look up Uomi. I think he's going to share stuff in the chat. You can start beginning to explore what this is about, being curious and see how you can get to be a part of this ecosystem, because this is helping so many people across the world, bringing the borders down, right? We're no longer separated by oceans, or we're no longer separated by borders. This is a borderless conversation. So your last words, we'll go with you, Dr. Cindy. Any advice, any last words as folks think about where next to actually do their business, where next to actually engage as it relates to Lesotho.
Thank you very much. My first word of gratitude is to you, our chair, for amazing work that you have done and the connection that you have done today, and to the president and to my dearest sisters, the regional lead for the UK and also for Germany. I mean, I never thought that I'm going to be in the midst of greatness like what I'm seeing now. I never knew that I'll connect to my sisters or brothers in UK and also in Germany. So today, Lesotho was in Germany and the UK because of Global Opportunities Committee. And this is what collaboration is all about. And also to say that Lesotho is ready for business and is ready for investment. And in the near future, we're looking at inviting the Atlanta Black Chambers to Lesotho, just on a fact-finding mission. And so that when we start, talking about doing business with one another, you have experienced that elevation. It's #visit Lesotho, and it's a great nation with great people. And yesterday it was Mushosho Day, where we were celebrating the founder of Basotho Nation. And these are the things that will actually take you when we actually come to Lesotho, so that you experience the culture very well. But on that note, I'd like to say shout out to all my colleagues at Atlanta Black Chambers all over the world. And thank you very much for the support as a lead for Lesotho and at the Black Chambers, in particular with the Global Opportunities Committee, and my brother, Thabo Qhesi, who's the CEO, who never hesitated when I said, there is a mission that we need to accomplish, me and you, and nobody else can do it in Lesotho. But the two of us, we have to stand for this. And here he's sitting in the platform. I really appreciate you, my brother. I salute and honor you. And thank you very much for the support, and looking forward working with you as we take Lesotho to the next level globally, working with our partners globally through the Global Opportunities Committee led by our dearest brother, Ricardo Barris. Thabo, thank you very much.
Thank you. And I do want to just get to Jason to talk about You Owe Me. So Cindy, you owe me. So, thank you, but thank you for everything that you do and being a regional lead and representing Lesotho, making sure that Lesotho is included and integrated in the conversation. Jason, your final words. You can just speak directly.
Okay, cool. So my final words on this is really, it's actually not about You Owe Me. It's more about the collaboration. Yeah. And it's more, actually, this is really a true demonstration of Black excellence. Yeah.
Yes.
And being part of, the ABC, yeah, and the GOC, it's gonna be a shining example for the community, essentially, in what they can do, in what they can achieve, in what they can accomplish, and what they can execute on. And I think that's important to know that actually we are executing on the vision, yeah, to move our community forward. And I think I'll just leave it there.
No, awesome. Thank you so much. Jason. Thabo, you've got the last word.
Thank you so much. My sincere gratitude to Atlanta Black Business for giving us an opportunity to showcase the potential of Lesotho. I think this is not the last conversation that we are having. By virtue of being the CEO of a private sector foundation, I also represented the business community of Lesotho at SADC level. So what I've seen is that Lesotho is a small market, but when we look at the regional market, it's a bigger cake, but using Lesotho as a launch pad to service the regional market. This is the message that I wanted to show potential investors in Lesotho, that don't look Lesotho alone. No, look regional market, but using Lesotho as a launch pad to do production. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This has brought us to the end of the Power Hour. The hour did actually come, but the power continues. So it's within you to take this forward, keep learning, keep connecting with each other. but also keep applying and do business and grow and be prosperous. So thank you again, everybody. Have a great morning. Have a great afternoon. Thanks to our folks here in the UK for hosting us. You owe me, right? Thank you for for hosting us as well. Thanks to Claudine and Leonard and Melvin and all the good people that's really just made this possible. So have a good day, everyone. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
next week, same time, same place.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, colleagues. Jason.
Yeah, we'll put it up so you can see the folks waving saying bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Jerome. Bye, Ruth.
Awesome. All right, good deal. All right, make sure you save the chat before we hop off here. Thanks, Samuel. Thanks for hopping in. Cindy, thanks. This was great. Thabo, thank you. This was great.